Prapanna parijataya totra vetraikapanaye Gnanamudraya Krishnaya Geetamritaduhe Namaha. We spent 3 to 4 classes on understanding that one shloka, the 18th in this 4th chapter. Karmani akarmaya pashyet, akarmani cha karmaya, sa buddhiman manushyeshu, sa yuktaha kritsna karma krit. He or she who is able to see actionlessness in what seems to be action, and action in what appears to be renunciation of action, is indeed the wisest. She or he has nothing more to do. The life is completely fulfilled. This kind of praise was made by Sri Krishna to a jnani, and this jnana, puzzling as it is to people who may not be introduced properly to Adhyatma Vidya, is indeed the key to liberation. Jnana alone, jnana devatu kaivalyam, is a famous statement. We have deliberated enough on this, taking help from the comments and the commentary by Adi Shankaracharya too. We continue now, and the next shloka, number 19, is in fact a praise. It is stuti, it is prashansa of this very jnani. As Adi Shankara introduces it, tadetat karma adau akarma adi darshanam stuyate. This very ability to see in karma and so on, akarma and so on. Karmani akarma. Karma and so on means karma and akarma, and akarma and so on means akarma and karma. Akarma in karma and karma in akarma. Therefore, there are two, unless you add results of karmas and so on. Results also have that scenario. You think, lot of results here, but it may be a zero actually. Somewhere else, nothing seems to be coming out, and there may be great amount of rewards, results, and blessings to the world. So the praise of this jnana, highest wisdom, is verse 19. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagnidagdha karmanam tamahuhu panditam buddhaha. The main sentence here is buddhaha tam panditam ahu. The wise people call him an enlightened being. Whom do they call? Here the word pandita is not in the narrow sense of belonging to some Brahmin class or a teacher of some language, music. In various cultures and various regions, even a music teacher is called Sangeeta Pandit, or someone teaching Hindi is called Hindi Pandit. In our town, there was a nice gentleman who taught 3 languages in the high school: Hindi, Sanskrit, and Kannada. But alas, students who were mischievous called him Himsaka. Him, Hindi, Sa, Samskrita, Ka, Kannada. He is a Himsaka. Maybe some of them felt it was a torture for them to sit in his class, though what we have generally heard about him was he was most wonderful. So people wanted to have fun at cost of anybody. Then there was a lawyer in our town. As in many other languages, we too called a lawyer Vakila, Vakil, Vakil, Vakalat, Vakila. There also these boys were so mischievous. They said Vanchaka, Kichaka and Lanchaka. Vanchaka, Vanchana is deceit. And Kichaka, is that wicked person whom Bhima had killed. You find that story in Mahabharata. Kichaka is a wicked fellow who set his eyes on Draupadi and maybe other women also. And Bhima finishes him off. Lanchaka, that may not be in all languages. Lancha means bribe. Very unfair to lawyers, but for the fun of it. Vanchaka, Kichaka, Lanchaka is Vakila. One who teaches Hindi, Sanskrit and Kannada was called Himsaka. Just like people who write cartoons, they need just an excuse to make people laugh. So, Pandita here does not mean anyone belonging to some caste. We talk about Kashmir Pandits and elsewhere too. In North India, Brahmins are called Pandits. So this word is used. But what does it mean here in this shloka? That is important. Panda means highest wisdom. Panda asya asti iti panditaha. So whom do we call endowed with the highest wisdom? It is said only those people in whose case all the karmas are burnt by the fire of wisdom. And as a result, anything and everything that he may be doing or he may be seen to be doing from his own point of view, he may not be doing anything. It is all totally free of any personal agenda. The I, me and my is erased in him or her. Acharya Shankara explains it. Yasya sarve samarambhaha. That is how the shloka begins, right? Yasya yathokta darshinaha. Yatha ukta. As was said in the previous stanza, karmani akarmaya pashet. Yathokta darshinaha. Someone who sees the way described in the previous verse, sarve samarambhaha. Sarve means yavantaha. Whatever, wherever, at home or outside, morning or evening, anywhere and everywhere, anytime and every time. Sarve samarambha. Samarambha here is nothing but karma. Karmani. Sometimes in certain regions, samarambha is a word used for some big function or even vivaha, upanayana, and some function where hundreds gather and something is celebrated, something is observed. But here it doesn't mean that kind of samarambha. Here samarambha is, as Acharya Shankara explains, samarabhyante iti samarambha karmani. Arambha means taking up. Arambha means beginning. So a lot of shops, businesses give a name to themselves. ABC Enterprises, because it is an enterprise for them. Even a little shop in our towns might have Ram and Sham Enterprises. And some action, some project taken up by big people running to crores or hundreds of crores or thousands of crores of rupees of investment and whatnot could also be called an enterprise. Samarambha is an enterprise. You start. Somebody, a bachelor who does not know cooking, for him to try out a new recipe is the enterprise of the day. Trembling, he starts, okay, now what am I to put? What is the next step now? And much excitement. So that suffices. Karma is called samarambha. Therefore, Bhashyakara says, samarambha, sarvani karmani. Why do we call karma samarambha? Samarabhyante iti samarambha. But the highlight here is, when there is the purest vision, what happens is such a transformation in that sadhaka. Kama sankalpa varjitaham. Kamaihi tat karanaischa sankalpaihi varjitaham. The word sankalpa somewhere else could be a kind of will or a resolution following kama. But here, please see, sankalpa here is not what follows kama, what is before even kama. Thus, last Friday we had this class, and because of technical difficulties, it was abandoned. But partly we had seen how Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says there are kama, desires in us, and some of them become kratu. Kratu is will or sankalpa. For you want to do many things. Among them, you pick up a few and say, I definitely will do this, even if not other things. So that is sankalpa over there. And then that leads to karma. Kama, kratu and karma in the mantra proper. We also called it kama, sankalpa and karma. And we connected it to a modern expression, deep driving desire, sankalpa. Because that particular session got washed out because of technical difficulties, we are uploading today a proper video of 45 minutes in place of that class that met with technical difficulties on that Brihadaranyaka mantra, chapter 4, section 4, mantra 5, kama, kratu and karma. Please don't take that meaning here. Here, kama sankalpa is kama and not what follows kama, but what precedes kama. As Sri Shankara writes, kamaihi, and then next, tatkharanaischa sankalpaihi. Kamanam karanani sankalpaha bhavanti. And elsewhere it is mentioned very well. And in Shankara's commentary itself, on chapter 6 and other places, it is made clear. Kama janami te moolam sankalpa deva jayase. This is a famous quotation from some other scripture. O desire, I know how you arise. You arise from sankalpa. If sankalpa is the word to imply the cause of kama, then what it means is shobhana adhyasa. Shobhana adhyasa. There is a car, 100 people see the car, but one of the 100 who sees the car, or one of the 100 who see the car, gets very attracted. For in her eyes, oh, what a beautiful car, and oh, I wish I had this car. So in her eyes, that car is the source of lot of happiness. That is called shobhana. Shobhana means very attractive and good. Adhyasa, superimposition. The car may not have so much happiness to give really, but this lady looks at it as, I don't want anything else in life. I just want that car now. That is Shobhana Adhyasa. Kama is like that. Kama follows a Shobhanadhyasa. Sankalpaihi varjitaha. Therefore, a jnani neither desires anything nor does the primary mistake of looking at something as though that is the source of happiness. All humanity do this mistake with respect to something or the other. Somebody may claim, I don't have any attraction to cars. Does it make him a virakta, a detached person? He has attraction to real estate maybe. He has attraction to gold. He has attraction to bank balance. Something or the other. He has attraction to the other objects, technical gadgets. So Shobhanadhyasa people do. Someone who has no sankalpa, that idea that there is happiness in that object, nor the desire that follows such an idea. Kamaihi varjitaha tat karanaischa sankalpaihi varjitaha mudha eva cheshta matraha anuštiyante. So, if they are seen to be doing things, sometimes you find saints and sages walking long distances. In the same year, they would have walked across the country 2 or 3 times. So why do they go? Cheshta, why all this movement? Mudha, with no particular purpose, personally speaking. Anuštiyante. Pravruttena chet, if you find that person not just going from one part of the country to another, actually starting organizations, collecting funds, making dana to deserving poor people, and setting up things. There is a lot of economics involved in the activities of some saints. So such a saint is called Pravritta. He is a jnani, but he is into a whole lot of social activities. Loka Sangrahartham. It's purely for the benefit of Loka. Loka of Sanskrit becomes Log in Hindi. लोगों के हित में, लोगों के लाभ के लिए, लोगों की सेवा के लिए, अपने लिए नहीं. That is the idea. Nivrittena chet. Then there are some saints like Maharshi Ramana, 99% Nivritta. 1%, he also used to do some work in the kitchen. He also would casually, spontaneously do some small things. Not that he was absolutely motionless. He was rather active. He would polish a kamandalu. He would make a walking stick. Or he would go to the kitchen early morning, it seems. Very early morning, and cut some vegetables. So that's very hardly anything. Nivritta otherwise. Nivrittaha. But why is he also active a little bit? Jivana matrartham. Just to keep the body active, keep the body alive. Tam Jnanagni Dagda Karmanam. This expression is one of the most beautiful expressions in the Bhagavad Geetā. Jnanagni Dagda Karma is the noun. And then when you take it to what they call Dvitiya Vibhakti, Jnanagni Dagda Karmanam. So Jnanagni Dagda Karma is an adjective, as all Bahuvrihi compounds are. It's an adjective. When you say about Lord Vishnu, Chakrapanihi, the word Chakrapani neither refers to Chakra nor to Pani, but the whole word is an adjective to Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is not a Chakram. Mahavishnu is not a hand. Mahavishnu is someone who holds a chakra, that Sudarshana chakra, that disc, in his hand, Pani. Chakram Pano Yasya Saha Chakrapanihi. Like that, this Jnanagni Dagda Karmanam is a Bahuvrihi Samasa. He is not Dagda, he is not burnt. He is not Karma either, but he is somebody whose karmas are burnt. Dagdhani karmani yasya saha. Now, how did they get burnt? How did his actions and their results get totally burnt? It is explained in the same compound. Agnina. Which Agni? Jnanam eva Agnihi, Jnana Agni. That is called Karmadharaya Samasa. So, Jnana Agnina, Dagdhani, Karmani, Yasya Saha. That is an adjective. Quite an involved adjective, and Sanskrit language permits a whole lot of such structures. Yesha Jnana Agni Dagdha Karma. That means etasya karmani jnanagnina dagdhani. So what is this? Okay, grammar, you put this grammar aside now. But what is this fire of knowledge? Jnanagni. Well, we talked about it in the previous verse. There is a certain knowledge, there is a certain extraordinary perception where, as Bhashyakara says, karma adau akarmadi darshanam jnanam. When thousands are looking at something as, wow, what a great activity, the wise person is able to see it as no action at all. The wise person smiles at it. Wise person knows that all this is expression of the unrest of these people. These people are unable to sit quietly. Therefore, they are digging these holes. Tomorrow they will fill up these holes. A lot of human activities are like that. Do something and then undo it, then again do, then again undo. As there is an expression in the context of Indian history, Tughlaq Darbar. So there was some king called Tughlaq. He changed the capital from, I guess, Delhi to Kolkata, then from Kolkata back to Delhi or some other city, constantly changing his mind. So the idiom, creates a picture of Tughlaq as a bit of mental imbalance. Though there are some accounts according to which he was not so bad either. That is up to historians to tell us whether Tughlaq suffered from mental imbalance or was he honestly and earnestly trying to improve things. But karmani akarma, what appears to be very impressive. In fact, critics of developed countries like America often call America as very hypocritical. Nowadays, Ukraine war is going on. And many of you would have got some messages where they have said, the messages with facts and figures shows that the United States in the last 25 years or so killed, some figure went 11 million human beings. They went into Vietnam, they went into Iraq, they went to lots of places. They lost their own soldiers also, but with bombs and so on, they killed so many. So they say, what is this? They say they are maintaining peace in the world. They are actually causing more bloodshed, far more than Ukraine and so on. So human lives, individually or collectively, even at the level of huge countries, is full of questionableness. What looks like service. Sri Kumar Rao wrote a piece the other day, how there are hidden motives in even service. Sri Kumar Rao, an excellent coach for CEOs and anybody for that matter. He writes his blogs And on the application called Telegram, he has 1-minute messages, which are quite profound. This Dr. Rao, hailing from our India, of course, seems to be well grounded in Vedanta. Even while addressing corporate executives, the undercurrent in his teachings is quite a bit of spiritual wisdom. So he talks in the blog 2 days back that in America, where he has settled for last 40, 50 years, in America, a lot of philanthropy is much promoted, much encouraged, much appreciated, much talked about, much publicized. Philanthropy. Rich people, successful people are often in the news that they gave some astronomical figures, so many millions of dollars to this university to set up a chair for some studies, some teaching. They gave to this social cause, they gave to that social cause. And he asks a question, are they really for the benefit of the society? Or do the donors have some hidden agenda? Of course, he honestly says he is nobody to judge all the cases. But in some cases, it has been found out later that the donors had their own hidden agenda. There was one, for example, one person who made a lot of donations and was in news, and next elections he contested. And later it was known that he made those donations to prepare the ground for winning elections. He wanted his image. He wanted the general picture about himself in the minds of people to be very good. So, Bhagavad Gita understands, sympathizes with all these people, but says, at the level of the highest wisdom, you have absolutely no desire, no hidden agenda. Therefore, your karma is so pure, as it is said in certain books of wisdom. The left hand does not know when the right hand is given charity. The right hand donates and the left hand doesn't know. Now, this is an idiomatic way of saying that there is no taking credit or scheming or keeping some benefit in future in mind and so on. Thus, that's a kind of burning. All one's karma is burnt in the ash, in the fire of knowledge. J. Krishnamurti makes a very puzzling statement in one of his talks. He in fact asks a question, can an ambitious man love his wife? When I read it long back, I thought there was some typing error or printing mistake. And I said, what has ambition got to do with loving one's wife? Can an ambitious man love his wife? Can a man be ambitious at work and claim to love his wife at home? That is so well connected to this Jnana Agni Dagdha Karma. For teachers like, mystics like J. Krishnamurti, look at everything from a very lofty point of view. From the heights of spiritual philosophy, if man is ambitious, then he can't change the gear, as the idiom goes. He can't change the gear the moment he comes home and sits with his wife over dinner and, sits in the balcony, sits and chats with her. He can't change the gear. He was ambitious and fretting and fuming, maybe not outwardly. Outwardly, very calm, but inwardly bent upon getting his way, bent upon getting nearer to his personal goal, let us say. That is Kama Sankalpa. And Krishnamurti would say that such a mind cannot love anybody under the sun. Such a mind which is soaked in ambition will definitely give highest priority to his own goals. Everybody else can be disposed of, dispensed with. Everyone has wife, children, nobody matters. One's own agenda. Though people are clever, they may not show it. Number one, they don't show their ambition, their hidden agenda. Number two, you find, in the example of husband and wife, or it could be wife and husband, no gender bias here. An ambitious woman cannot love her husband either. So it doesn't have to be man only. So some of these wives or husbands also succeed in, quote and unquote, in the eyes of society at least, being very good fathers, very good mothers. They do not, act lazy. They do what needs to be done. They remember the birthday of the spouse. They, when the children are small, promptly go pick up the child, drop the child, take him to music class, take her to, karate, and so many things they do. The father of the children or the mother of the children. And therefore, sometimes we find a spouse being very unhappy with his or her marriage. And amidst all the hurt that she or he expresses, in between there is a sentence. I have got puzzled sometimes when people came to confess their problems. In between, while they say, this husband or wife is so self-centered, then in between they say, but he is a very good father. She is a very good mother. She never has let us down as far as a mother's responsibility, wife's responsibility. So there is a human intelligence is very clever. We humans are extremely clever. We ensure that if a list is made of what is expected of us, we pretty much do all those things. And in spite of doing all those things, being a good father, being a good so-called good husband, being a good this and that, secretly but very effectively we will be pursuing our own ambition. So this Dhanagni Dagdha Karma is not only beautiful language-wise, but has tremendous significance. Is it possible for us to live without any motive at all? Is it possible to carry the message of Christ without wishing to convert anybody to Christianity and increase the number? Next to impossible. I believe now another movie after Kashmir Files and one or two other of that kind, there's a movie coming up end of this month called Conversion. In the name of conversion or for the sake of conversion in developing countries like our own India, what has gone on and why it happened, why it continues to happen even today, saying this is God's work. Are you sure it is God's work? Or in the name of God is Satan functioning through you? And so on and so forth. So in religion, in politics, in business, in every field of human life, there is karma and sankalpa. My desire, and behind my desire, my idea of what is beautiful, what is lovely, and I will pursue that. So in order to pursue that, there has to be I. Who am I? I am a junior accountant now, and by next year I have to become senior accountant. My 5-year plan is to become the office manager. Or in politics, I am an MP now, and within 5 years I want to become PM. So there are these hidden agendas. Is it possible to serve the society, to be good to the spouse or children, with no personal hidden agenda? Shankara says, karma adau akarma adi darshanam. That means karmani akarma darshanam, akarmani karma darshanam. Tadeva jnanam, tadeva agnihi, tadeva pavakaha. That is the fire. Tena jnanagnina dagdhani. Dagdhani karmani. Shubha shubha lakshanani. Vedanta is uncompromising. It's not about burning only what is called evil actions or the results of even evil actions. Burn even good actions and the results of good actions. Punya karma and punya karmanam phalani. Punya karmanaha phalam. All are to be dagda. Dagdhani yasya tam ahuhu panditam buddhaha. Who are buddhaha here? In order to recognize and call someone as truly illumined, this judge also has to be, first of all, illumined. Not all can distinguish a diamond from ordinary precious stones or ordinary stones which have a semblance of a diamond. Just like that, those who say he is enlightened have to be themselves enlightened. Therefore, Buddhaha ahuhu, kete Buddhaha. Who are these wise people? Brahma vidaha. Brahma vetti iti Brahmavit. These are knowers of Brahman. They can recognize other knowers of Brahman. Paramarthataha panditam Buddhaha. Paramarthataha here means really. Not Vyavahara Paramartha. There are this, Pratibhasika Satyam, Vyavaharika Satyam, Paramarthika Satyam. Don't bring all of that here. Paramarthataha Panditam Ahu means really, absolutely, indeed, truly, in the true sense of the term. Such a person is a Pandita, an illumined, enlightened being who, through his or her wisdom, has burnt all actions. And Adi Shankara makes just a little bit of extension, nothing big. Yastu karma adav akarma adi darshi. Karma adav akarma adi darshi. In my book, there is a visarga, that is definitely print mistake. Karma adav akarma adi darshi, not darshihi. I hope it's not in your book. Yastu karma adav akarma adi darshi. Saha akarmadi darshana deva nishkarma sannyasi. To be a sannyasi actually involves right seeing. In Ramana Gita, a student asks Ramana Maharshi, what is sannyasa? And Maharshi replies, Sannyaso nirmalam jnanam. Full stop. Sannyaso nirmalam jnanam, period. Means when one has the right seeing, that itself is sannyasa. Whether externally one leaves some activities, wears some orange robes, lives in a hut, closes all one's bank balances, doesn't go for life insurance, etc. Those are all faltu. Faltu meaning not the primary things. One may have a bank balance, one may have spouse and children, one may be having a palatial house, one may be having life insurance and property insurance and so many other kinds of insurance. That's all on a certain level. But if one has died to one's past, if one has the wisdom not to carry the sense of individuality, I, me, and my future, my past. There are people who live a reasonably honest life, but they also live in fear. You know why? 10 years ago, 6 years ago, they had done something dishonest, and they are afraid that past would be, would be divulged, would be known. Hope nobody knows what I did in 2016. Hope people will not know what I had committed in 2008 when I was in another company. In this company, I'm utterly honest. But my job in that previous company was a bit different. I hope nobody knows. So carrying, that is called the, little I, which is kept alive through those fears, through those hopes, through those anxieties. This fear, this anxiety, this hope, this guilt, this shame, they create the I. The limited I is made of them. Guilt, shame, pride, and so on, they are the material, they are the building blocks of the Jiva Bhava. Whereas here, Akarmadi Darshanadeva, a sannyasi is one through right seeing. When you attend Vedanta properly from competent teachers, you will be able to see how the sense of I that you have been carrying is false, is a mere appearance. You are not that I. You are not the one who did whatever. You are not the one who has to face the music now. You are different. That is Dana. Akarmadidarshi karmado, that is Nishkarma. As you know, Sureshwaracharya wrote a whole book, Naishkarmya Siddhi. The word Naishkarmya comes in the Gita itself. So, karma, action, and being an actor, being a doer. Nishkarma and Naishkarmya is actually Atmadhyana, not the abandonment of action outwardly. Outwardly, someone may be active all day, but inwardly, one doesn't take oneself to be the doer. I am not the doer. I never did anything. I won't do anything. This is the understanding, even though one is active. Nishkarma sannyasi jivana matrartha cheshtasan karmani na pravartate. So there are some who actually, I already gave the example of Maharshi Ramana, and in our country there is no shortage. So many sadhus kept away literally from money, from owning a house and such things. And they lived with bare minimum needs being fulfilled. Jivana matrarche cheshtaha. That's one category. Karmani na pravartate. Yadyapi, though prak vivekataha, before their enlightenment, pravrittaha, they were active. Prak vivekataha is one expression. Vivekataha prak. Jnanat purvam ityarthaha. Then second category is yastu prarabdha karma asan uttara kalam utpannatma samyak darshana syat. There are some who are into service, into seva, into activities, into some responsibilities. because of their prarabdha, they are into it. Uttara kalam, as they are going ahead at a later time, uttara kalam, utpanna atma samyak darshanaha, or here samyak darshanaha. That samyak darshana, right seeing, dawns upon them. Maybe they have been listening to some Mahatma, they are studying, they are into some upasana, and at some point they let go of the upasana and they meditate on the pure self. Many of you might be experiencing after attending a lot of Vedanta classes and after being religious, having been religious for a length of time. Some evening you may sit down saying, I will do some Ashtakshari japa. But within 30 seconds, your mind may change. Well, for a change, let me sit quietly and let me contemplate upon my pure self. Akarta, abhokta. You may do that because you have moved back and forth between bhakti and jnana, jnana and bhakti. Another evening, the opposite may happen. You had prepared to meditate on jnana. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. You are planning to play that and meditate on the significance of that. But a certain sentiment of devotion may arise. You even turned on the CD player, or nowadays all net-based. You had even clicked on the link. You stop it. I don't want this Shivoham, Shivoham now. I want to just think of Lord Rama. Ramaya, Ramabhadraya, Ramachandraya, Vedase, Raghunathaya, Nathaya, Sitaya, Pathaye Namaha. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 25 minutes, you may be just doing Ramanama Japa. Fine. So, Utpanna Atma Samyak Darshana Syat, Uttara Kalam. You were very active before, but later on got that wisdom, and then Sarva Karmani, with respect to any karma, Prayojanam apashyan, not seeing any use. Tasadam karma parityajati eva. So it doesn't matter at what point you get enlightened. There is a high likelihood that at any point down the road, you will give up, you will renounce activities. Sasadhanam, even the tools. Let's say you are running some laboratory with some lab equipment. You close the lab and sell away or give away all the equipment. Sadhana is some equipment. Those who are attached to scholarship may just give away all their books. Those who are attached to some social service may also pull the banner down, bring the board down. I am not into this anymore. Saha kutaschit nimittat karma parityaga asambhave sati. You will ask a question, do all do this? Moment they are illumined, do they next morning close the shop, close their service center, close whatever noble activity they were doing? Not all may do it. That's what Adi Shankara says. Among them, there may be some kutaschit nimittat, for some reason, karma parityaga asambhave sati. Some factors make them think, well, it's not wise for me to literally close the shop. Karmani tat phalecha. Then they remain engaged. They remain active. And phala means various rewards, recognitions, financial aid. Even as they continue with some work they are doing, they suddenly may get a government grant or some philanthropist gives them some huge donation. A foreign grant may come along. Fine. Sangarahitataya. You accept them. You do karma, you accept karma phala. Sangarahitataya. No personal attachment. Swaprayojana abhava. Personally, you have no benefit from it. Loka sangrahartam purvavat karmani pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti. Therefore, with that understanding, anchored in that understanding, I am fine, I don't need anything, nor am I, for that reason, indifferent to people. I love people, I care for people, I will do everything as I always did, but there is no personal gain kept in my mind. In this way, Loka Sangrahartam Purvavat Karmani Pravrittahapi, though active, though engaged. And Shankara uses these words to connect to the next shloka. Dhanagni Dagda Karmatvat Tadiyam Karma Akarma Eva Sampadyate Ityetamartham Darshayishyan Aha. When that understanding is shining in one's bosom, even if one is doing something, that deed, that action practically is inaction. And that is why the next shloka is a description of someone who is really either literally or inwardly dead to this business of doing, getting results, doing this, getting results, doing that, getting results, wanting more results here and not wanting some other results, living in hope, in fear, etc. To that, he says, goodbye. That is the 20th verse, which we will see in the next class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.